Wait, now he can't teleport? What? Yeah, try first, ask questions later. What can go wrong? Just, give it the taste test. Is there any sugar in here? No? Nothing in there? Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Stories in a Teacup. I'm your host Christina and I'm going to explore a brand new story with you. I have not read it before. I don't know what it is. That is the format. So let's get started. Today's story is written by Fabian, and the way it works is I have sent him a bunch of pictograms based on Rory's storycubes, and he just wrote me a story. Like I said, I have not read it before filming this, and right, it is called Stories in a Teacup. Today's tea is called Cinnamon Toast Black, and it does smell like cinnamon toast, and very wintry. It's a good breakfast tea. Let's just get right into it. The story is called Of Luck and Reverence. Do you know the feeling of being let down? Do you know what pain really means? I thought I knew, but I didn't. Until that day. Hermes and I have been friends for as long as we can remember. He said Olympus has fallen, and now he had to live an ordinary life. He was a funny guy. Our parents were befriended too, and so it was no wonder that we met at an early age. He often told me about this strange dream that haunted him for years. It was a plain white torii in the midst of nowhere. The closer he got to it, the heavier his legs became. Not sure what a torii is. Maybe a square? We'll find out. It was like a magnet for him, but he couldn't turn away. But the pain in his legs was throbbing. It felt like someone was ripping your soul out just to feel the emptiness with pain. Every year, Hermes took a few steps closer to the gate. But he could never reach it as the pain made him faint. Maybe torii is a gate. A gate to nowhere? But he could never reach it as the pain made him faint. We parted ways when we turned 30, but fate brought us back together. I became a renowned genetics scientist, and Hermes became an archaeologist. A company called Be a Better You hired us both for an expedition into the depths of the Amazon rainforest. Our group consisted of 40 people with different tasks and backgrounds. Our captain, a real sea woman, took charge of the transport and guiding. Her name was Rena, and she knew this cursed forest inside and out. The night before we reached our base camp, Hermes and I sat on the railing and marveled at the clear night sky. By the way, those gates, as I was reading through it, I was thinking about gates in the middle of nowhere. Right now I'm playing Halo and they've got those like ancient ring gates. And I always want those to lead to somewhere. I know that there are artifacts that you're scanning and that you'll get audio logs from it, but I like the idea of being transported into another dimension or another location, kind of like in Portal. So that's what this idea of the gate reminds me of. Do you think there's other life up here? Asked Hermes. Yes, I do, but it might be completely different from our movies and horror stories. Do you remember the dream I had for years? Asked Hermes. Yes, I do. Is it still haunting you? I reached the torii. Hermes' face was a petrified, serious expression. Hermes, what have you seen? I was concerned. Even though he had felt this much pain, he was never serious. You will see it for yourself. It is the reason why we are here, Hermes said and stood up. We're about to improve human existence forever. A smile came back to Hermes' face. I wanted you to come with me. I wanted to share this moment with you. Hermes stretched out his hand. I reached for his hand and he pulled me up. Thank you, brother. It means a lot to me, and I really miss the old days. A small tear went down my cheek. That night, I also had a dream. I was hanging on the abyss. Hermes was standing over me. I held out my hand, but he just stood by, impassively. Blood poured from his mouth, and he fell forward, past me. Rena was standing at the top. She had a blood-soaked knife in her hand. She bent down to me and said, "Do you want to feel the knife or fall?" I let go and fell, and fell, and fell. It was an endless fall. My screams woke up half the ship, and then one of the assistants woke me up. Yeah, that, those endless falls are scary. I'm a little bit nervous about heights. It's mainly unstable grounds for me. But it is because I don't like the idea of falling, and even the 1 meter jump tower in swimming pools, just jumping down from that gave me the heebie-jeebies. So having an endless fall would give me proper nightmares as well, especially after you just realize that someone might betray you. Our base camp was equipped plainly, and Rena said that we have to take care of everything ourselves. It is a team building measure, she told us. Team building. We were not used to the hard work of our assistants, but we grew with our tasks. Without a foreman, it took us a whole day to set up the camp. The next morning, we made our way to the future excavation site. It was a 2-kilometer walk. The Amazon rainforest was amazing, but scary at the same time. Many unknown noises, poisonous animals all around, and with diseases that our bodies did not know. That was my job, to take a look at the blood and try to find ways to improve ourselves genetically. Only a few days later, the excavation site was advanced, and all of us were vaccinated against the disease in the jungle. 2 workers died from poison from wild animals. Their deaths were not in vain, as I could use their blood to make a drug that would immunize us against the specific poisons. And that is another thing where I admire people that have the courage to just go backpacking in countries and areas that they're not familiar with, because you are not familiar with the animals, especially little critters that you might not easily see and that might be very poisonous or dangerous, or just having the knowledge what you're able and allowed to eat and what is toxic or poisonous. And I don't think I would survive in the wilderness very well. So if the zombie apocalypse oh god, if the zombie apocalypse happens, then I will have to rely on other people's skills to survive, or I would just, sadly perish. Unless I find a stockpile of ramen and oatmeal, just to bring in some variety. The days passed, and with them our good mood. It was depressing. The same food every day, the same faces, and we just couldn't move forward. The company CEO called me this morning. He asks how much longer it will take to get us results. The whole thing is really expensive. Rena, what's going on with me right now? It's like, I don't know. Rena was especially in a bad mood. We're close. There's somewhere a hidden passage that leads us to the tomb, which holds the remains of the tribe that once lived here. Hermes tried to explain this to her for the 100th time. If it were up to me, I would really get you going, but I'm not allowed to. Must touch the little baby boys with kid gloves. Rena tried to provoke us, just as always. Well, it sounds like they're not letting themselves be provoked. Good on them. Captain Rena, look, we have many vaccines and immunity boosters. That'll earn us a lot of money. I know this is not what they were looking for, but we could send the probes, so he might give us more time. What do you think? Rena was speechless for a moment. That is indeed true. I'll organize it. You've got serious luck. Now go back to work. Rena left angrily. You saved the expedition. It's good to have you here. Hermes hugged me. Dr. Hermes! Dr. Hermes! We have found the entry to the tomb. One of the workers brought the good news and was visibly exhausted. He must have run 2 kilometers. Hermes and I jogged to the excavation site. Full of joy, we headed down to the tomb. The tomb was not really a tomb. It was rather a ritual room. It was made up of gold and bones. Old chalices adorned the ritual altar, on which lay not only a large knife, but also two ampoules, ampoule, one containing a blue liquid, the other containing a red liquid. That is actually a good point. When you encounter old ritual rooms, like say you play games that have a tendency to cover historic sites, or you cross historic sites, then you don't think twice about the things that you find in there. Like, yeah, it's amazing, gorgeous set dressing and environmental design, let's say, for example, in The Witcher or in the Assassin's Creed games. But imagine you'd actually be in there yourself, and not only would you find amazing, beautiful works of art or pottery or things like the chalices, but also bones, because sacrifices were real in history. I think that would creep me out quite a lot. I think we've established at this point that I'm not the most courageous person. I am very curious and I am quite adventurous to some extent. I do like exploring. I like having company. It's just reassuring, and there is just something, it's not a supernatural aspect. It's not about ghosts or anything, but the flair of being in a ritual site like this, there's just something oppressive about that. And I don't think I would want to be there by myself. It's just not even foreboding, and it's not necessarily rational, but yeah. Do you know what this is? Hermes was visibly pleased. No, tell me. The ampoules don't look like they were as old as the rest. I was kind of surprised. This tribe was no ordinary native tribe. I have found data indicating that it was the exile of an ancient Greek tribe. Legend has it that the tribe created an elixir that grants all desires, and one that reverses all desires. Hermes pointed at the two ampoules. What happened to the tribe? And how could they create such a liquid? I was confused. You don't believe me anyway. How about we taste the liquids? I'll take the blue one. Hermes was excited. I'll do a test first to see if these liquids are harmless, or in other words, still good after all these years. But it was too late. Hermes was so quick, my eyes couldn't follow. Yeah, try first, ask questions later. What can go wrong? Just, give it the taste test. Man, this tea is so good. So I didn't add any sugar or any honey or anything to it. The tea itself, is there any sugar in here? No, nothing in there. Actually, rather sweet on its own, which is very impressive. I might get that one again. Are you amazed? Be a Better You provided me with a matching speed that fits my name. He drank the blue liquid. Now it's your turn. He overwhelmed me and inserted the liquid into my mouth. How do you feel? He asked me. You idiot! I stood up and hit him with my fist. He was shocked, so I had time hitting him again. Why did you do that without asking me? I was really angry. He didn't answer, but punched me with high speed. I tried to block his barrage of fists, but I was no match. Fully concentrated with me, he didn't notice that someone entered the tomb. A shadowy figure sneaked in, watching the fight from the side. A few moments later, Hermes stopped. Have you come to your senses? It was for the sake of science. The liquid I inserted you, it reverses all your desires, and all my desires are granted. He laughed out loud. I'll tell you a secret. To make the potion of wishes, you have to sacrifice a beloved friend. The goodness of his blood allows it to be made, but the sudden end always creates a part that is full of hatred. That is the other liquid. There are always two, like in friendship. Now, as you are in a weakened state and filled with a liquid of unluckiness, I will sacrifice you and take the liquids with me. Hermes laughed, but as he turned around, the knife was gone. He turned back to me. You stole the knife? he asked in disbelief. A sudden scream, searing pain, and the ritual knife protruding from Hermes' abdomen. Blood dripped onto the floor, and Hermes fell forward. The shadowy figure, it was Rena. You know, I was modified too. It is called the Loki elixir. As she explained, her men poured into the tomb. Hold him at gunpoint. I want to see the effects of the liquid. He has the unlucky potion. Meanwhile, I'll extract both of the liquids of Hermes. The veins store the blue potion of desire and the arteries the red potion of misfortune, she explained as she pulled out a syringe. Wait, I had to drink the blue one. Could it be? My mind raced with thoughts that I could not hold. And now I'll transfer his superhuman speed. My body is so enhanced to keep multiple abilities. Rena was enthusiastic. 10 minutes passed, but nothing happened. Rena grew impatient. Why does nothing happen? You should cripple, you should tear apart. But no, which means that I'll kill you myself. At least this is quicker for you. Rena charged at me with her knife. But the only thing that happened was that the knife broke on my body. Wait, he gave you the potion of desires. What a fool. Attack him, shoot him down. Rita called for her men. She herself charged with superhuman speed at the ampoules and ran out of the tomb. My subconscious saved me, as my conscious was not able to think clear. The bullets bounced off my body. Somehow, I sent out a shockwave, knocking out the poor men who Rena left there. I took Hermes with me as I teleported out of the tomb into a hospital. Wait, now he can teleport? What? Is that because of his desire? Instant teleportation skill? I think I want that. Straight into a hospital and probably with proper health insurance as well. So, not the US. I still believed in his friendship. My desire was that he would survive. I tried to locate Rena, but I couldn't. I had a bad feeling about it. A few days later, the newspapers were full of a spectacular takeover of the Be a Better You company. A certain Rena Azua was now in charge. I tried to destroy the company, but somehow my desires and hers were blocking each other. But with a ritual knife gone, and with only one unlucky potion left, the world should have been safe, at least for now. Hermes did survive his wounds, but he, as he always strove to be like his Greek namesake, Hermes, the messenger of gods, he instead was turned into a sloth. That is a fun twist. From that day on, we were inseparable, and Hermes was finally free from the endless torment of his recurring dream that he could never decipher. But somehow the transformation into a sloth must have stopped the potion from working. Maybe he found everything he ever wanted, so there was no desire left to reverse. The end. This is fun. It's a slightly different take on the whole potion story and evil scientist story, and I like the idea that it seemed like Hermes would betray his friend, but in the end he was actually protecting him and saving him from Rena, and I like that he survived as well. The fact that he turned into a sloth was a fun little twist, quirk. And obviously it's a short story, so if it was built out, it was probably be interesting to see like a proper company take down. At least, even though it was about ancient cultures and you had that ritual tomb, I actually felt this was a little bit more fun. There was a little bit more of a distance there between myself and the story than in the other evil scientist story, which was a bit more grim for me, and it did take me a couple of minutes to recover from that one. Yeah, this one feels more fantastical, such as a video game or a fantasy movie. So yeah, I enjoyed this, and I hope you did too, and I'll see you for the next one. All right. Bye!